Off the heels of watching the Duet Night Abyss trailer, which looked fucking incredible, I guess let's hear a whole video about a free game that doesn't treat you like trash. I'm pretty sure he played the beta, Glaive Keel. Let's see.
Do you ever have that moment where you suddenly realize just how much your life has been spent watching things from the outside? Lurking, scrolling, consuming? That was me for my
Yeah, but that's what I like, though. I don't know. I'm okay with that. You know, doing things is very hard. You know, I'm cool with just like going to the gym and banging your mother.
months ago when I didn't get into the beta for Duet Nights Abyss.
Oh, you didn't get into the beta? I did. I just didn't go into it anyways. I was lazy, bro. I was like, I'll wait for the full release. Who cares?
People were posting clips like, oh my god, the movement is so good. And I'm sitting there watching as they all had fun with the game. I was very, very bitter. I was very hateful. And I was very angry. But anyways, apparently it had a lot of issues. The character models, the lighting, the world design. People had a lot to say about it. And not in a good way either. And then the second closed beta trailer drops like an awfully hot coffee pot. I click play on the trailer and suddenly...
Yeah, that shit looked crazy, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it did look crazy. I think Jenna had some complaints about the game, but overall, it was like positive. I think he gave it a 7. It seemed like it had really good bones. And this is great for me because Warframe didn't have the game structure that I enjoyed. I do much prefer the gacha model, which is crazy to say in big 2025. I do still have an addiction for the gacha model, I do. So I feel like it really can improve upon what Warframe set out the groundwork for. And I'm all for people learning from the blueprint. And Jenna is depressed, so 7 is pretty good. Yeah, that's very true. He is depressed. That ult just looks insane. You think that bitch got a global passive too? I like how half the Duet Night Abyss characters just look like reskins of other pre-existing characters that like sold well.
After watching that, I thought to myself,
it's hard for me to get excited about new gachas in 2025. I think it's so easy because everybody knows that no games besides MMOs have the same, the sexual luxury that gacha games have in the first month. The first month of a gacha game is so damn good. Just play it out, enjoy yourself, and if you don't, then just quit. It's really that easy, but the first month of gachas is so fucking good, bro.
This might be the next big thing. You don't need to be deep in the gacha scene to know how exhausting it has become. Pulling on banners is basically gambling in a hoodie, and most games treat you like you're lucky to just lose a little slower. But our game today, Duet Night Abyss, somehow feels like it's trying to break that cycle. Right off the bat, the game throws out the idea of 50-50 rates, at least for your first copy of any character.
Which is fantastic if that's all you need. And I believe the constellations were looked into and one copy is all you need, besides like a minor stat bonus. I could be wrong. But I actually really like that model. The first one is guaranteed. Love that. I hope more games adapt that system.
That alone changes how players think about value. You are not pulling a coin flip hanging over your head because if you want someone, you get them. It is simple, direct, and honestly kind of shocking in how rare that is. The same.
Yeah, if it were me, the gacha that I would prefer is first one's guaranteed and there's no weapons. Weapon systems are really driving me fucking insane. I think they're so fucking gay.
Mindset applies to weapons. Yeah, if you're aiming for a specific 5-star, the game just gives it to you. And if you're the type to hoard currency or just want to play long term, you can just craft them. There is no bait, no fine print, just grind, build, and get what you want. And because weapons are shared between characters, plus the fact that each one can carry 2 at a time, you are not stuck in that constant loop of needing to pull. You are not chasing one copy for each unit. That pressure to keep up with the meta is still there, of course, but it is softer.
Did you see how big that demon's chick's titties were?
For each unit. That pressure to keep up with the meta is still there.
I mean, goddamn, bro, that bitch looks hot as fuck. Goddamn, and finally a game where we get to use a scythe, thank God.
Of course, but it is softer, manageable. Even with the stat system, the Demon Witches avoids the usual RA.
I don't play gachas and enjoy the content in general. Do you have a lot of expendable currency to play gacha? No, just play one for free. Gachas are honestly more fun if you play them free to play because it feels like you actually earn something and the pulls feel like really intense. But just try Limbus Company, Wizardry, or Wuthering Waves completely free to play and you'll have a good time. But Wuthering Waves, you have to play for like 8 hours where you get to the good part because the beginning story is so ass. But I would just skip that. Skip everything until you get to Renacita. And then it's, oh God, it's so good.
RNG rabbit hole. There is no random substats, no rolls, no heartbreak, just fixed stats, and you can save your loadouts too. It is the kind of design that respects your time in a way most gacha games just don't. Put all of this together, and yeah, it is not an overstatement to say that Duet Night Abyss might be the most free-to-play friendly gacha game we have
Really
ever
cute
seen.
animations.
It is not just generous, but disruptive. It is making a statement, and honestly, I think a lot of studios are going to be watching to see how players respond. Of course, generosity only gets you so far. Back when the first closed beta wrapped up, a lot of
You know what? Maybe I was too harsh on Duet Night Abyss. When is this game coming out? This looks really good, guys.
players had the same takeaway. The game had potential, but it didn't feel finished, because of course it is not finished. And the biggest criticism is the visuals. They were flat, environments felt sparse.
I will also say Wuthering Waves beta felt fucking terrible, and I dropped it within like 2 hours, but then I played the actual game on full release and it was fucking incredible.
Character models looked oddly disconnected from the world around them, and the lighting was, at best, functional. It is like a brightness slider, apparently. In a genre where style carries have the experience, it just wasn't cutting it. But here's the thing, the devs actually owned it, not with like 100%. Vague apologies. They actually went a full-on public changelog, detailing what they plan to fix before the next test. And now, a few months later, we are seeing the results.
Transparency is something I value so much between players and devs. That's so nice they have that.
Character models look sharper, more polished. The lighting is not just brighter, it adds mood, it adds tone. And the environments, that is probably the biggest leap. The new footage shows off the fog effects, the denser foliage, layered lighting. Even places like the ruins of the past have been reworked to the point where they are barely recognizable in the best way. Before, their characters felt like they were floating through empty spaces. Now they feel rooted, connected, like they belong in this world. And yeah, any dev team can say that they're listening, but actually following through on public feedback within months, that shows a level of trust and responsiveness we don't see on.
Months is pretty slow. I prefer Wuthering Waves feedback within minutes. I will say, I'm spoiled by the Wuwa devs where we bitch and we get results within seconds. It's so nice.
Especially in this genre. It doesn't just build hype, it builds hope that this game might actually grow with its players. The second beta isn't just about new visuals though, it is also where the game starts feeling tactile. Like the systems aren't just functional, but actually enjoyable to use. The movement, for example, it looks like it got tightened up across the board. Characters now have smoother transitions, clearer animations, and there's a real sense of weight behind their motion. You've got the helix leaps.
It looks okay. I don't want to glaze it. Yeah, that like kind of looks whatever. I'm not gonna say it looks insane by any means.
Wall climbing, even wall jumps, which sounds like nothing much, until you realize just how rare it is to see verticality that actually matters in this kind of game. Combat too. It has got its share of refinement. Weapon handling looks far more fluid, with better animation blending and more responsive input.
It looks like this might be the best hack and slash gacha that we have so far, which we don't really have that many.
It is not about flashiness here. It is about making sure that every swing or shot feels deliberate, and that
yeah, it looks like it's gonna be like a mindless swing fest, which could be fun, but I think that could lead to power creep very quickly, but we'll see. I don't want to doom post too hard.
When a game leans this hard into hybrid
yeah, it definitely looks like looks cool, play for a week, absolutely.
Combat, where you are constantly swapping between melee and ranged mid-fight. On the customization front, there's also a weapon dye system, which is the kind of feature that sounds cosmetic until you realize just how much time people will spend trying to match their weapons with their mood. Combine that with outfit adjustments and accessories, and you're getting a surprising amount of control over how your characters present themselves, not just in terms of fashion, but in creating visual identity. Then there is the performance side, full controller support, higher frame rate options, and customizable key bindings. That is basic stuff on paper, of course, but in practice, it means that devs aren't just building for one type of player. They are thinking the long term, across platforms, across input styles, and with an eye towards scalability. These aren't flashy improvements. They're the kind of
It's very simple. If you want your game to be more successful, release in every region and release on every platform. It's really that easy.
Behind the scenes groundwork that keeps a game feeling good, not just looking good. And that usually says more about a studio's priorities than any trailer ever could. But beyond the mechanics, Duet Night Abyss is trying to build a world that sticks with you, not just through the lore drops, but through the characters themselves. The Charons, the Charons, the Charons. I don't know how to pronounce this word. They're not your usual anime protagonists. They're the demons, second-class citizens in a world that treats them as lesser. Visually, they reflect that status. Horns, glowing veins, exposed spines. They look like aliens, even unsettling. But they're also striking, memorable in a way that doesn't rely on tropes. And for once, the cast isn't just made up of waifus in recycled silhouettes. You've got Saibol, Sabile, god damn it, these names, dude, who starts as a villain and ends up playable. There is
god damn, bro, this chick looks so hot. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Holy, I have such a I'm so bad. I'm so down bad for demon girls, bro. It's insane. Damn, bro. She looks fucking fantastic. Holy shit. My favorite characters in every show are always the bad guys turn good guys. Every single fucking time.
There's Hellfire, whose design is about as subtle as her name. I mean, look at her. She's so good. I see red. You feel me? Haha. And then there's Rhythm. This is the only one I can pronounce correctly. Probably my favorite reveal so far. No idea what kind of bacon she is seeking, but whatever it is, I am on board. It helps that the devs are actually supporting this world building with systems. There is a story
yeah.
review feature, an in-game wiki, and they have reworked the UI to make quest lines easier to follow. Tutorials are being added for interactive mechanics, and the difficulty is getting balanced out in the more punishing sections.
Here's my question. Why is Glaive Keo so well-spoken in videos, and then you watch his stream, and bro's just crashing out 24/7? Like, am I missing something? Or like, why can bro speak so well in these videos, and then you talk to him on GachaCast, and he can't even string together a sentence? I don't get it. I really don't get it.
In short, they are not just writing the lore, they are making sure players can actually engage with it. And that level of accessibility, that clarity, it makes a big difference in whether people stick around after the honeymoon phase. One of the easiest ways to lose players in a live service game is to waste their time. And that is something Duet Night Abyss seems unusually aware of. Take missions, for example. They have been streamlined not just in pacing, but in how they reward your efforts. You can now spend extra energy to multiply rewards, which sounds like a minor bonus, but it turns your daily task into something that you actually want to knock out, not something you feel guilty for skipping. Combat areas like the Forsakens have also been reworked. Elite spawns are more reliable, loot tables have been adjusted, and the enemy density has been bumped up across several zones.
Oh,
it makes
so
the world feel more alive, and more importantly, more worth your time. And the grind is
So
still there,
fucking
but it's
cute.
better paced and more intentional. Less like you're dragging yourself through repetition just to hit a quota. And underneath all of that, the loadout system is quietly doing a lot of heavy lifting. Every character can equip 2 weapons. And not just any 2 weapons, but any 2 from the entire pool. That means the meta won't just be about chasing the newest banners, it'll be about finding the best synergy for the characters you like. And since weapons are shared across units, you're not getting punished for having favorites. This kind of design doesn't just keep power creep in check, it also cuts down on long-term burnout. You are not locked into an endless treadmill of re-rolling the same weapon for 10 different units. You build once, you invest wisely, and you're allowed to enjoy what you have built. That is not flashy, but it is smart. And smart design is what sustains a player base when the novelty wears off. What makes Duet Night Abyss interesting?
I think we can all agree that everyone should be rooting for every single gacha to do well in some form of pro-consumer fashion. So that way the other gachas that have been fucking consumers for years have to bend a knee and adapt the policies that players enjoy. And that's why I love so many new gachas coming out, because they're all competing with who treats their players with the most respect. Because if you don't, they're quit. Because before, it was an abusive relationship and you had nowhere to go. Now, guys, you have everywhere to go. And I think gachas are getting better and better.
Interesting isn't just that it's improved, but how it improved. The devs didn't just patch over complaints from the first beta, they took the feedback, mapped it into the systems, and rebuilt the experience around trust, around clarity, around the idea that your time and your interests are worth respecting. And that is rare, especially in a genre that is usually more cornered with keeping players on the hook than treating them like people. If the second closed beta holds up to what we're seeing here, then Duet Night Abyss might actually be one of the few gacha games that feels fair. Not perfect, not revolutionary, but measured, and confident in a way that doesn't need to shout about it. It looks good, it plays better, and more importantly, it knows exactly what kind of game it wants to be. But that is all from me, Glaive Keo, and I'll see you in the next.
Yeah, Glaze Keo went fucking hard on Duet Night Abyss there.
Sand ropes weave the path beneath.
That shirt looks great. Where'd you get it from? Amazon, just like the rest of my clothes.
Shouldst thou dream of a pristine sand realm, there lies the beginning of the story.
Damn! Loving the music already.
Someone will pluck you
Damn,
from the
wait, the
briny
environment looks
waters
amazing.
and lead you to a frozen wilderness where destiny will pose
Wait,
the
this looks
ultimate
really
test.
nice.
Go
Wait,
forth
yo, the graphics
and
look
commence
great.
the long, strenuous journey.
How have I not seen
For
this?
those as insignificant as we, to exchange what little we have for what we desire. Is that not, in itself, a stroke of fortune?
I'm curious
Okay,
if a
she fine
naive
as
fool
fuck.
can actually make a difference. Even a little.
Run at! Oh my god, they're showing gameplay. Did she just...
You wish to save all
Did
this.
she just cast result?
Set forth once more.
What the fuck?
Tread another path twisted into the helix.
Damn. Bro, that actually looked really, really, really fucking good. This game looks fucking great, bro. The futures of gachas, man. It's coming, guys, and it's looking really good.